Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today I am very excited to get to talk about this new Paramount Presents 4K release of Double Jeopardy. So I actually got this one in early from Paramount to review and talk about with you guys. This is available on January the 17th. I will be leaving a link for purchase down below in the description. If you do want to purchase it based on whether or not I recommend it here today, you will have that option down below. But I'm going to get into this. I'm going to talk about the picture quality, the audio, the special features, all that good stuff. I got a chance to watch it last night. I'm also going to give my brief thoughts on the film itself. I feel like this was a first time watch for me. I do remember watching maybe bits and pieces of it when I was a kid, but this is the first time I feel like I sat down. The movie had my full attention and I really soaked it in. So I do want to give my thoughts on the film itself. But before we get into it, hit the like button, guys. Hitting the like button is very important. Hit the subscribe button if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, owning the movies that you love. We talk about all that kind of stuff here on this channel. So if you like that, hit the subscribe button. Also comment, guys. Leave me a comment. Commenting is also important. What's your thoughts on Double Jeopardy? In the past with my reviews, I decided to change things up a little bit. And if you're new to the channel, then you won't know any difference, I guess. But if you've been watching my reviews for any length of time, I've decided I'm going to start talking about the technical stuff first. I'm going to start talking about the visuals. I'm going to start talking about the audio special features. And then I'm going to get into my thoughts on the movie. That way, if you don't care, if you don't give a crap about what Ken thinks about the actual film itself, you don't have to sit through it. So I want to talk about whether or not this is worth picking up based on the technical specs and how it delivers there. And then I'll get into my thoughts on the actual movie itself. So again, let me know if that's a change that you appreciate also in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's talk about Double Jeopardy on 4K. So this is a new restoration approved by director Bruce Beresford, I believe is how you pronounce that. And this has Dolby Vision, it has HDR10. So Paramount put the works into this 4K release. Now, one thing to note, and I did not know this as well, like this has never had a Blu-ray release in the United States. Domestically, this has never had a Blu-ray release, which I found to be crazy. Like again, I thought this was a big popular movie. I would have thought it at least had a Blu-ray release by now, but no Blu-ray release. So this is the first time in the United States that this is not only getting a 4K release, but also a Blu-ray release as well, which also makes it a little strange that Paramount didn't, have two options. Like, why wouldn't they put out, and I don't know if they've ever done this with their 4Ks, but it strikes me as strange that they wouldn't give you a Blu-ray option and a 4K option. Like Criterion does that. Several other labels do that. It's just kind of weird that they wouldn't give you the option to own a Paramount Presents version in Blu-ray and a Paramount Presents version in 4K, but you can only own this in the 4K version. Now, this did receive the Blu-ray treatment by Imprint, which is the ViaVision label out of Australia back in 2021. So this does have a Blu-ray, and a lot of people, I believe, imported that because, again, they were fans of the movie, and I guess because this didn't have a Blu-ray in the United States, people just wanted to get it one way or the other. So if you didn't ever get that Imprint release, you are being rewarded now. But getting into the actual transfer itself, I would say, and again, this is the first time this has been put out on Blu-ray, this has got to be the best this film has ever looked. I thought overall this was a beautiful transfer, like a really well done 4K transfer by Paramount. The detail, the clarity is very strong here, like right from the beginning and pretty much all the way through. Facial detail is excellent throughout. There's some good close-up shots on like Tommy Lee Jones and Ashley Judd, and all that stuff is just crystal clear. It just looks excellent. You can just see every wrinkle, every imperfection of every character's face throughout the film, and just incredible details in the background and stuff as well. Like you open up on this, like I believe it's some kind of like lake house or maybe oceanfront house. I don't know if they're on the ocean. I feel like they're on the ocean. The beginning of the movie, but all that stuff looks great. Like all the scenery, there's tons of bright, vivid colors in this film, and all that stuff really pops with the addition of that HDR. The black levels are extraordinary throughout. The contrast offers a nice depth, which I did pop in the Blu-ray. Again, this includes the Blu-ray and the 4K, but that contrast just offers such a nice depth that is just not present in a Blu-ray release. And that's the big difference to me between like Blu-ray and 4K, is when you're watching a Blu-ray, it just looks like a painting on your television screen. And when you watch a 4K, just with the contrast levels, with those black levels really enhanced, it just, you feel like you can almost reach out and just like touch up. You just feel like there's weight there, like there's depth to the actual picture. I think that the last 30 minutes of this film, which is all set in New Orleans, looks spectacular because you have that New Orleans setting, you have all the bright colors of the New Orleans like nightlife scenery and stuff like that, and everybody's partying on the streets and all the parties, and just the colors with the neon lights and everything just reflecting off of everybody's skin. Like there's a scene where Tommy Lee Jones is chasing Ashley Judd through the streets of New Orleans at night, so you have all the lights just kind of shining on their faces as everybody's running, and just all that stuff looks great. As far as film grain, it's almost non-existent here. So if you're not a fan of film grain, like they really cleaned this up. And again, this was shot on 35 millimeter, but they really went out of their way to clean all the film grain. Like it's, you can tell there's a little bit, especially like in the beginning, some of the opening shots of the film, which I will say is I'll offer a little bit of criticism to this. Some of the opening moments, kind of in that sunset, some of the characters look like they almost glowed a little bit. They had kind of like a glowy look to them. Not really glossy, but just kind of a glowy look. Like everything still looked pretty natural. All the skin detail, the facial detail and all that stuff was still there, but they just had like a glowiness to them, which kind of took away from the overall like picture quality to me, because it didn't feel like it had that depth that the rest of the film did. But those moments are very few and far between. So overall, as far as the picture quality here, I thought they did an outstanding job. And again, this has not been released on Blu-ray in the United States. The last time you were able to own Double Jeopardy here was DVD. So this has got to be a significant upgrade over that DVD release. I mean, but you do have the Blu-ray here with the 4K scan, and then you have that 4K, which just looks excellent. So if you're a fan of Double Jeopardy, like you are going to be seeing this movie in a whole new light here with this 4K. And getting into the sound, Paramount offers a nice DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and I thought all of that sounded excellent. The score in this movie, I really love the score in this film, but it's kind of layered in over the dialogue and some of the action sequences very nicely, and I thought everything just had a good sound to it, good sound quality throughout. There's a lot of really thrilling action set piece moments in this movie, which I really didn't anticipate it would have as many as it actually did. So you have those action moments that all sounded great. And getting into the packaging real quick, you have a nice cover right here, although I will say I'm not a huge fan of the kind of reddish maroon with the, you know, bluish green like aesthetic here, the color aesthetic that they have on here. I wish they would have went more with the traditional colors of the actual original film poster for this release. I mean, it's not bad. I don't hate it, but I don't know. They don't really pop. And I wish that the colors popped a little bit more on this cover, but it's still good original poster artwork there on the front. And right there on the back, you have the synopsis. I'll zoom in. You have some special features, which we'll talk about here in a second. You have that Paramount Presents little statement right there that they put on all of their Paramount Presents lines. And then right there, we'll zoom in on the specs and all that stuff. I'll show the spine real quick, if I can focus that. And this is spine number, I believe, 37 in the Paramount Presents line. So this is the 37th Paramount Presents release. And then we'll take it out. You do get a digital code in here as well. And again, you have the year. I love that they put the year down at the bottom. I think that's super cool. And then we'll flip it right there. I will remove the digital code. I'll probably give that away at a later date. You have some nice disc art in here. Again, you do have a Blu-ray and you have a 4K. And then we'll pop these discs out, and I'll show you the inside image as well. Some nice images on the inside. And getting into the special features here, there's not a ton of new special features. All the special features are on the Blu-ray disc and not on the 4K disc. It has a new interview with Bruce Beresford where he kind of gives a retrospective on the film and the making of the movie. And he talks about how Jodie Foster was almost cast in the role of this and how she wanted to change a bunch of stuff. And now he's like, no, we're not going with you. And then they decided to go with Ashley Judd. They talk about casting Tommy Lee Jones. So it's a really good interview with him, and it's about 15 minutes. And I'm pretty sure it's brand new. I don't think it's been on any other release. And then they have some of the archival features, I imagine, from the Blu-ray release. There's a making of the movie, which feels like it's really old. Like, it feels like it's back from when they did the DVD of the movie. And then they got some deleted scenes and some other good stuff. So there's a good amount of special features in this. Now, one thing to note here, special features wise, is that imprint Blu-ray release that came out did have an additional audio commentary in it, and this has no audio commentaries on it. So you do get an additional audio commentary if you do have that imprint release. So that's one thing that the imprint Blu-ray owners do have over this 4K release right here, which I wish they would have gotten that, but maybe the imprint had the rights to the commentary. It's kind of funny that they didn't have any commentaries on here at all. I would have figured they would have done one for the DVD back in the day. But yeah, guys, overall, just technically, if you're trying to decide, look, you have the imprint Blu-ray, or if you're trying to decide if you want to get the imprint Blu-ray versus this 4K, I would say that this 4K has to blow, at least picture quality wise, has to blow that 2K scan imprint Blu-ray out of the water. This just looked magnificent. So real quick, getting into my brief thoughts on the movie before I wrap this thing up. This is a movie from 1999, which is a huge year for cinema, and this is another huge movie that came out in the year 1999, directed by Bruce Beresford, who also directed Driving Miss Daisy. So I'm not as familiar with his filmography. I've never even seen Driving Miss Daisy before, but also starring Ashley Judd, who was really popping off at this time. Like, there was a time where Ashley Judd was like one of the biggest actresses in the world, and I feel like that started here with Double Jeopardy. I think was one of the movies that really kind of pushed her into stardom. Tommy Lee Jones, who at this point had done tons of movies, The Fugitive, which a lot of people would compare this movie to, and just Men in Black he'd already done at this point. So it's always good to see Tommy Lee Jones in classic, like, Tommy Lee Jones demeanor, and he absolutely delivers here, in my opinion. Bruce Greenwood, who was kind of not really blowing up as an actor, but started to get more roles. He shows up in a lot of stuff. I don't really like know him by name, but when he shows up, I always recognize him. But yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed this movie. I didn't anticipate that I would love this movie, but I kind of love this movie. It's a very thrilling movie. It's very engaging. It's very conventional. And I believe that's probably why it's so low on Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't really do a lot to push the action thriller genre forward, mystery thriller genre forward. It's very conventional in its approach. It follows a lot of familiar beats. But it does it very well. And I think that Ashley Judd does a really good job. Like, she has this movie on her shoulders. Like, she's the main focal point of the movie from beginning to end. And I think she does an incredible job of leading this film and just being a super sympathetic character that you just want to get behind and you want to root for. And I think that's why this movie works so well, at least for me, because you're with the character of Ashley Judd throughout the whole movie and you're just rooting for her. Again, it doesn't really matter that the writing's like kind of conventional and it's very basic and generic in parts, which it is. I'm not going to say that it's not. And you know, you get to Tommy Lee Jones and he's Tommy Lee Jones and he's saying all the Tommy Lee Jones stuff that we've heard him say before in other movies like The Fugitive or U.S. Marshals or some of those other movies that people would say are better versions of this movie. But, you know, to me, that doesn't really matter if you're still delivering a story that I'm engaged in, that I'm captivated by, that I'm genuinely interested in seeing the conclusion of, then, you know, I'm going to enjoy your movie. So it doesn't matter that it's a little conventional to me at the end of the day. And I really did enjoy this movie. I love the dynamic between Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones. I thought they had great chemistry together. I thought Bruce Greenwood played the perfect, you know, douchebag husband character who is in the very beginning of the movie and then he kind of disappears because the plot requires him to through most of the film. But when he shows back up at the end, I think he's absolutely fantastic. Tommy Lee Jones is great, like I said, as always. It's always good to see Tommy Lee Jones. I really miss him as an actor. But Ashley Judd, like I said, is the real standout of this movie. There's some really exciting moments, some really thrilling moments. There's a lot of great action set pieces as well. Not like huge, big budget, like it's not like Bad Boys or something. It's not The Rock. I don't want to give that expectation to the film. But there's some good set piece moments in the film. You know, there's one where the car goes into the water and they're, you know, fighting to get out of the car in the water. So there's some good stuff in this movie and just a really good mystery that probably gives way too much away from the beginning of the movie. It kind of sets everything up for you to know exactly what the conclusion is going to be. But there's some good twists and turns throughout this movie, I will say. And there's some unexpected things that happen, even though it ends up exactly where you would think it would end up. So I did enjoy this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was excellent, to be honest. I'll give this movie a 4 out of 5. It's got a 28% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's unfair. I really think that's unfair. I feel like this movie just wasn't appreciated in its time. So I hope it finds its audience now, being put out on Blu-ray and 4K. And if you have not seen this movie before, and if you're a fan of thrillers, if you're a fan of action movies, a fan of mysteries, again, it's not the most compelling original mystery story. But I think it works, and I think it's very, very entertaining because of the performances and the characters of Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones. I think they absolutely deliver in this movie. So as for would I recommend this Paramount Presents 4K release, I think I would. I think I absolutely would. I think the picture quality is outstanding. I think that the movie is great. Like, I really enjoyed the movie. It's got a nice new special feature in this release as well. You get the 4K and you get the Blu-ray. I wish they would have offered the option, though, for people that don't care about 4K and just wanted the Blu-ray. Because like I said, there is no Blu-ray release in the United States. So some people might have just wanted the Blu-ray of this one. I feel like they could have sold more copies if they did that. So I wish they would have done just the Blu-ray, but this 4K is available for $34.99, which is a bit steep. It's a bit pricey, but you can get this. Again, $34.99 is the price on Amazon and Best Buy. You can get this on deep discount. That is an option as well for $30.99 currently. So it's a little bit cheaper if you go the deep discount route. I will try to link that down below as well. And then there's going to be an overseas UK 4K release of this for $31.99 currently on Zavi right now. But yeah, I would recommend this release. It's a really nice release, and I don't feel like I showed off the packaging fully. Did I show off this poster? You flip this up and it's got the original poster of Double Jeopardy. I just think that's super cool. But really great release, really great early release by Paramount that I would absolutely recommend that you pick up. But thank y'all so much for watching my review of Double Jeopardy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts on Double Jeopardy, whether or not you're going to pick it up based on my recommendation or not. Turn on the bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.